If leg day was yesterday and now you're wondering why toilets are so damn low, you are definitely old school. If you're the only athlete at your gym that knows there's a contest today and it's to see who trains the hardest, you are old school. OSBBC.com for the hardest training athletes.
You're funny.
It's like I said. Do you like my tail?
Welcome back to Iron Rage, the show where, what's that guy's name? Oh yeah, Lee Priest and I vent our frustrations with the world, and Lee Priest is amazingly recovered from his... A lot of people think that you didn't get the neck surgery. They think you faked the whole thing. Did you hear that rumor?
No, I haven't heard that one. No,
yeah, they said Lee faked it because he wanted to steal all the GoFundMe money, and that's why he's fine now.
I'll send them my fake bill I got if they want to pay it for me.
I want to thank our friend Jose Robles who sent me this Thor's hammer.
Look at that.
That was a surprise gift. Lee kept saying to me, expect something in the mail, and then, I didn't know what it was. I didn't have an idea, so this was a great surprise. But you had...
When I say expect something in the mail, you're probably scared going.
I was scared, and I'll tell you why I was scared. I was scared because I didn't know you were having this YouTube battle with some gay guy, and who you sent him. You sent the gay guy. What did you send him? Like a pair of old stinky underwear or something like that?
I didn't send him anything, Dave.
Oh, that was made up?
Yeah, that was made up. He is pretending I sent it to him.
Oh, because he said that Lee Priest sent me this.
He does a couple of characters. He plays Dan, that guy, and then he plays Sid, another alter ego drug guy. Then he plays another guy. If you watch his videos, he has arguments with himself, and then his brother, the drug one, sticks up for me and starts hitting bodybuilding poses.
I didn't even know it was I thought it was a real channel. So no. I'm thinking, holy mackerel, Lee probably sent me some practical joke in the mail. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to open this thing up. But then I open it up and I see the hammer with the RxMuscle emblem here, and it has the great inscription: whoever holds this hammer, if they be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor. Bring me Thanos. So
there you go.
My son and I are having fun playing with this. He broke it already, but I've glued it back together. So thank you, Jose.
Yes, very, very good, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing what they can print from 3D printers, isn't it?
I know. It's crazy. I was watching this show about traveling, what it's going to be like for us to travel to Mars. And what they're going to do is they say on Mars, they'll send a rocket there ahead of time with 3D printers on it. And I'm sure that the spaceship that they're going to take there will have it also, so that they can 3D print everything they need. Which is kind of cool when you think about it, because then they don't have to bring all the supplies with them. They can just make it while they're there.
Yes, makes sense, doesn't it? So,
yeah, makes total sense.
Don't you have to take all the supplies for the stuff you need to print?
Well, you need the raw materials, yeah, but I think it might be easy to store a liquid raw material rather than bring a huge piece of plastic and whatever they're gonna whatever they need to do. I don't know, Lee. I haven't figured the logistics out on the space flight to Mars.
It's above our pay grade, Dave.
I always wonder. I say to myself, I wonder if my son or my kids might be decide they want to be astronauts and go to Mars, because that's probably going to be in their lifetime. And how would I feel about that? Well,
by the time that happens, Dave, you'll be up in Mars.
Yeah, I'll probably be dead. You're right. I'll probably be dead. Never mind. It's not going to matter. So now, Lee,
you'll be up there somewhere. I want to know why when they went to the moon, didn't we just go back to the moon, keep making trips to the moon? And, because we've got that International Space Station, which is massive and it's floating around. Why didn't we just keep going to the moon and build a big station on the moon? That way we could go to the moon, and if you want to go to Mars, you leave from the moon, because you need less fuel and shit to get off the moon and head out into space, don't you?
Well, that's what they say. If we're going to launch off the moon to go to Mars. But I'll tell you why. I actually watched a special on this. After the Apollo 13 mission, which was remember that movie Apollo 13, where they went to the moon and they never got there because something went wrong, and everyone became disillusioned. So they decided they had two proposals. One was going to go back to the moon and establish a moon base. The other was the space shuttle program, and they decided to go with the space shuttle program. They scrapped the moon, and because they wanted to put satellites in orbit around, the Earth.
They scrapped the moon because they never got there in the first place.
Yeah, they made it up, right?
That's just
just like Lee made up his operation on his neck. Yeah, it's all made up.
I did see that China is going to send up a thing to the moon very shortly.
Oh, really? Yeah. I think they got to build a base on the moon. That's a no-brainer, right?
Well, I always just figure when China sends up this rover or whatever it is they're sending to the surface of the moon, all they have to do is take that thing, take it around to where the Americans landed, and show the flag, show the lunar rover, show everything that whatever they left behind on the moon shows it's still there because it's got to be there. So why don't they show us and prove they went there?
That's good validation right there. Unless the Chinese also pretend that they go into the moon and they don't ever get there,
And they'll get there and there'll be like a magic wok restaurant on the moon or something.
It seems like the moon's not that far away. It's only 100,000 miles, so it seems like that's a much better thing to set up a base on because you can kind of
imagine if they had started setting up a base in the 70s, 80s, it'd be massive now. And like I said, the amount of fuel they need to leave the Earth's atmosphere to get into space, you'd probably need a quarter of that to get from the moon to fucking Mars because there's no gravity.
Well, there's a little bit of gravity, but that's why they wanted to launch from the moon. I've seen The Martian on the cartoons. They just get a big slingshot and they fucking just shoot it like that. So
on the Acme rocket, I've seen it. Dave.
I wonder if we had a base on the moon, if you'd be able to text people from the moon to the Earth. I wonder if that would something you could do.
In the 1970s, Dave, they were talking to Neil Armstrong on the moon with a phone.
But it wasn't via text message, Lee. I mean,
it doesn't matter. It was still a phone call. My mum lives 20 fucking miles away, and I can't get a fucking signal. They got one in the 70s. They had a phone call with fucking space.
That's true. You're right.
Technology today, even 5G. You're driving across America. Hello.
I still think the analog phones are make a better phone call than the digital. That's what I think is the truth of the matter.
Compared to this fucking 5G and all this new shit they're coming out, my fucking 2 fucking aluminium cans with a string makes a better fucking phone call than what this shit makes. Remember that in the old days, you get the tin can, the string.
That's
hello,
right.
Hello.
That's right. Those are back in the old cartoon days of Tom and Jerry. Now,
hey, Tom and Jerry, they're making a new movie. Did you see that? New
no,
Tom
I
and
didn't.
Jerry movie coming out.
Really?
While on the subject, yeah.
Animaniacs came back too.
Animaniacs came back. I don't know.
I just watched a good movie the other day. I put on my Instagram called Fat Man. It's Mel Gibson. He actually plays Santa Claus.
Is it good? When did that come out?
It just come out now. It's called Fat Man. He plays Santa, and it's about this young kid. He's a rich kid, a spoilt kid, who gets a lump of coal, and he gets so pissed off he hires a hitman to go kill Santa. It's pretty violent. There's a lot of killings. There's a lot of killings and shit and stuff. The guy that plays the hitman in it, he's been in the TV show Justified and that. But it's pretty good. It's a different take on Christmas and Santa, put it that way.
Now, what does Mel Gibson look like? Does he look like Santa Claus?
Yeah, he's got the beard and he's older and that, and there's a good scene in it where the military, because they want Santa to make these military things because he sort of needs money. So this big cart falls over and the military guys are trying to lift it up, and Santa comes walking through the snow drinking his coffee, and he goes, puts it up and he goes, steroids. And he fucking walks up.
Always got to throw the old steroid joke in there, right?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, sure. Yeah. And then I watched the new one with Kevin Costner called Let Him Go. That wasn't too bad either.
What is that about?
Kevin and Diane Lane, actually the two that played Superman in the Superman movie, father and mother.
Yeah.
They own a ranch. Their son marries a girl and they have a kid, and he dies, and then she ends up marrying this guy who's really abusive, and she sees him abusing her and shitting their grandchild, hitting the grandkid. But then she goes to visit him and they've moved away, and he's in I forget the family's name, almost like the Hatfields on the McCoys, and he goes to live with his family. So they go to track him down, and this whole family's just fucking real abusive. And the mother that runs the family's like the matriarch who's a fucking nut job. So Kevin Costner's like a retired sheriff, so he pretty much has to take on the family get his grandkid back and the mother of the child to get him out of harm's way. So it's pretty good.
It's another one of those movies like Liam Neeson did. What was that called? Where he gets the revenge. Taken, right? Yeah, I love that.
Actually,
movie.
I just watched. I think it should be out there now. There's a movie he's in, his newest one called The Honest Thief or The Good Thief or something. Mm-hmm. It's really good. It's a good one where he's like this career criminal, like a thief. They never caught him, like a guy that breaks into banks and he's famous, and no one ever catches him. So, but he finally meets a girl, falls in love, so he wants to turn himself in. So he calls up the FBI and says, "Look, I want to turn myself in. I'm the such and such burglar you've been looking for." And they're like, "Yeah, whatever. Sure you are. Prank call." And they finally send these 2 FBI agents out to go check his story out. He goes, "Yes, I am. Come with me. I'll take you to the money." He had like 9 million hidden.
Oh, wow.
So he takes them there and he shows the FBI guys, but then he shows them 3 million. So now these 2 FBI guys pretty much try and frame him and get him done in because they want to kill him and take his money. So it's like he's trying to turn good, but now the FBI's corrupt, and now he's got to prove that he's not this bad person who killed these other people. So, and he almost says it again. He's on the phone. He tells the FBI guy, "I will find you."
It's like Arnold. I'll be back.
No, it's almost like from Taken. "I will find you."
That's funny. All right,
it's actually good. I think it's called The Honest Thief. It's a good movie.
All right, I'll check it out. Now you have a new book out on Amazon.
Yes.
Believe in Yourself.
Yes,
Did you write this book or did someone ghostwrite this for you?
Ghost wrote it for me. He come to visit me. Regan contacted me to do it, and we spoke a bit over the phone and that, but then he finally come to visit me and spent days with me, and we just sat there and he just kept recording and taking notes. Right. Pretty much just discussing my life.
Now let me ask you a question.
It was done a couple of years. Probably done 2 or 3 years ago. So I probably could have added another 6 chapters to it now. But
when you do, you have a part 2. When you do a book like this, okay, and you talk about your childhood and your past and how you got into bodybuilding and all the demons that you fought. I mean, is that an emotionally difficult thing to do? Telling a stranger everything that you've been through, because obviously you have to be completely transparent and honest if you want the book to really be emotionally.
For me, not really, because I think my whole life, when it's come to interviews, as you know, with MD or anything I've ever done, I've always been honest and transparent. Actually, probably too honest, I used to get told. So, no, it wasn't hard. There's some stories you might bring up if I'm talking about my grandparents that might make me feel sad, or even just remembering fun times with Joe Gold. You think, oh, that was good times, and you feel sad. But no, I've never had a problem discussing my life, telling about it, what it is, and yeah.
What about when you have to go into relationships? Because you're married now, you're happily married, but yet you had some controversial relationships. Is that stuff that's difficult to write about?
No, it's my life, so I talk about it. Some people say, "Oh, you shouldn't say that because that person." Generally I won't mention name, but it's generally if you know that time frame, you know who I was with at the time. So it's like it's not hard, but but no, because sometimes I might say something about something and they go, "Oh, she's not going to like you said that." I said, "Yeah, but it's my life too." So if I'm talking about my marriage and my life and this is what happened, I can't mention it because they're a part of it. It's like, hey, I got nothing to hide.
Yeah. Is there anything in the book that I'm going to try to read it at some point, but is there anything in the book that would be shocking to people, that they didn't know or that you hadn't talked about before, that this was the first time?
Don't know, no, not from, no, I said not since I've talked about other stuff since then. No, probably with me, I don't think there's anything shocking. There might be different stories people haven't heard, but I'll have to read it myself because I can't even remember what's in the book. So.
And you know what? It's good because you don't remember. So it's kind of like you'll read it and it'll be like, hey, I'm reading about myself and I don't even remember talking about this because this guy obviously wrote it in his own words after just taking whatever you said and he had to put it into a story that was readable, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's good. Yeah, it's good too because like I said, I'm talking about, I think one of the stories in there was when I did those 1,000-odd reps on the leg press with Joe Gold there and my friend was betting me I couldn't do them. If I'm telling that story, I'm just like, yeah, I got the 200 reps and my friend said, I bet you can't do 300. I bet you can't do 400. But when I did he sent me a rough copy a long time ago and I read that. The way he wrote it, it was more exciting. Like, oh, fuck, this is exciting. It actually sounded interesting. So it's like this big build-up of, drama.
So you did 1,000 reps. Hold on, you did 1,000 reps on the leg press on what? How much weight?
I think it was about 500 pounds, 1,027.
How long did that take you to do?
I think it was 27 minutes or something. I could keep going, like you could just keep going. You weren't allowed to rack it. So like if my leg's really burnt, I could hold it
Gotcha.
and just take one leg off and shake, but I had to keep in there. But from about the 15-minute mark, from my feet to my quads just went numb. Because if you've ever done high reps,
Yeah.
your quads hurt, but then when your quads give out, it goes to your hammies, your abductors.
Of course,
they
all the accessory muscles.
It goes to your glutes. Like everything else starts working to keep it going. But after a while, that went numb. So like I explained, it was the weirdest feeling because from my feet to my waist was almost numb, but yet I'm still sitting on the machine. My feet are on the platform, but you can't fucking feel it. So it's almost this weird sensation that you're pushing something, but you can't really feel it. And I said, it just got to the point where he just kept saying, well, I bet you can't do this now. I bet you can't do that. I bet you can't do this. So I just went, ah. And when I got to 1,000, I said, fuck it, I'm going to go to 1,027 or so. And I said, that's it. That's enough. And probably for a week or so later, my legs were really sore.
I can imagine. How deep were you going on the reps?
Just down to like parallel.
Okay. All right.
I had like him there. He was there. Then like said Joe Gold come over, and Joe Gold sitting there going, "Come on, fat boy, come on, fat boy."
So was there a bunch of people in the gym at the time, or was it pretty empty?
No, there was. It was the guy that was bet me the whole time was Dave. I forget his last. Was it Dave? He used to work at the RxMuscle.
Oh, Dave Burleigh?
No, not Dave Burleigh.
Oh.
I'm probably having a mental blank. It's probably not Dave. I'm probably thinking of Dave Burleigh, but it wasn't him. John. No, it was John. John Kaler.
I know John. Yeah, I know who John is. Yeah.
He used to work at the RxMuscle. John Kaler was the one who started Bet Me, and then it went from there. Then Eddie would come over and come back and forth, and then just a couple of regulars. But then Joe Gold decided to come over, so he rolled his wheelchair over. Because I was making jokes about when I was done that I'd need to borrow his wheelchair and stuff. So.
That's pretty cool. I don't think I never heard that story about the 1,000 rep squat. That's kind of like similar to Tom Platz when he did the 20 minutes. What did he do? Like 225? He squatted for like 20 minutes straight or something.
Yeah. So, whenever I came to leg training, I used to do a lot of crazy stuff back then. I used to do that. I think I heard a few people talk about where I used to do it. I used to always do it, but then I hear other people talk about where you do like get up to 3 plates and do 30 reps, 4 plates, 40 reps, 5 plates, 50 reps, up to at least 8 plates for 80 reps, and then start coming back down the other way.
What? Wow. That's crazy.
Stuff like that, yeah. But even I said, when I used to train with Tom, we'd always do shit like, I think the most we ever did though in rep range was we'd do like a lot of negatives and positives where you'd just hold down when you got to hold it halfway and you'd push on it. But when it comes to squatting, we'd generally just go to 5 plates, but do sets of 20s.
It's amazing when I think back, and I'm sure you can think back too. I would get under like 5 plates on a squat bar, and I could actually just like sit in a squat position and just it like was almost comfortable. And I'm like thinking to myself, my legs would snap in half if I ever tried that right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
I remember even like you said, you could put the 3 or 4 plates on, and it'd be like you just go up and down like it was nothing. It's like a couple of times I've tried to get back into squats, like a few months ago. I'd get up near 2 plates and going down. I'm like,
you can't even balance it, right? You can't even balance the weight.
I got annoyed one day because I was at World Gym, and I think I got the 3 plates, and in my mind I'm like, Lee, you curled 3 plates once, and now I can't even fucking squat it. and I looked up as I'm struggling with the 3 plates going down. When you haven't done it for a while, it just feels uncomfortable. It's like you feel like you got the strength, but all the stabilizing muscles just feel out of whack, like there's no stability.
Right.
So I'm going down. The lower back feels like it's shaking. I'm going like this, and as I look up on the mirror, there's a sign that says, "Have you hit your personal best today?" I'm like. I like fuck that, put it back in the rack, and fucking went and did something else.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it's like I always find squats are always one of those things that if I keep doing them regularly, they just get easy because you find that groove, you get your balance right, the stabilizing muscles work. But when you stop and start doing them, it's like, oh my god, it's terrible.
What did you think of the Jonathan Withers, who won the NPC Nationals? Is only his 2nd show he ever did.
He looked good. Yes, I saw the pictures and I saw your interview with him and that. So yeah, he looked good. Has a bright future if he does it smart, does it safe.
Yeah.
And I said he's probably one of the youngest ones at the moment. Was he 29? You said.
Yeah. It's amazing that we got some youth coming up.
I know, because when was the last time we've seen some people turning pro in their 20s? Well, we used to always see it in the 90s and stuff, but now it's like. You don't see them turning pro in their 20s much anymore.
Also, I interviewed, speaking of young guys, Hunter Labrada, obviously, who's one of the youngest IFBB pros out there, especially one of the most successful ones as well. You know, I was going over with him. We were talking about, you know, body weight and what he's going to weigh at the Olympia, and he's probably going to be like 5 to 7 pounds heavier than he was at Tampa. And I'm like, you know, guys don't do that anymore. You know, when you're in your 20s, you can actually gain weight going into a show. You know, nowadays. You know, most guys, you know, are lucky if they gain a couple of pounds from the year before. This guy's gaining between shows, you know. What do you think?
I said he's going to look good. I think, you know, like I said, his conditioning should be good. He's got I'm sure his father's helping him and whoever else is helping him. So I think he's going to look good. But hey, let me tell you, I love it. I love it every year when you put up a picture of Rami and that latest one come up, and I simply said he looks great, but it doesn't count now. It counts on contest day. Well. Did you see some of those comments? Fuck you, Lee Priest. How many Olympics have you won? I said, as many as Rami. None. It's like I just fucking... And then I said that. I think they got See, I got this little scar on my neck from the operation. I got a few people want to fucking lob my head off from the camera country, I think. Oh, my God, you should see him. Yeah, fuck you. He's better than you. He's going to be known as a bodybuilding legend. Who remembers you? I'm like, obviously you do, dickhead, because you're fucking right to me. So just because I said... Look, he looks good, yes, but I want to see him look this good on contest day. I'm not saying nothing negative. If Rami come in fucking shredded, he's got a chance of winning the show. And that's all I'm saying is we've seen him look like this before. The last show before he did, 2 weeks out, he had that big sunken face when everyone's like, holy hell, Rami's going to do good come the day to show. What happened? So it's like I'm not negative towards him for saying he can't win. He can fucking win it if he fucking gets his shit together. Right. But yet, because I wasn't so... Because I just said, look, it's good to see he looks good now, but, you know, the data shows what counts. Fuck you, Lee Priest. What'd you ever do? 6th place?
yeah. They're making fun of a 6th place finish at the Olympia, and you were the smallest guy there on stage. It's funny.
Exactly. And I got the top 6 a few times. So it's like, and that was it. And that was in the era, Dave, when there was fucking lots of hard competition.
That's right. Hey, you know, I heard Hadi Chupin is a very good chance that he's going to make it to the Olympia. Where do you think he falls in this lineup?
It's hard to... Well, his condition, you know, if he comes in condition, that's going to be the thing here because his condition's going to be one of the best, if not the best in the show. So really it's going to come down to, like I said, the condition of other people, and then it's going to come down to the shapes because, you know, his shape's good, but I think there's a few people up there with better shape. So is it going to come down to if someone's 98% condition with better shape, or they're going to go for Hardy who could be 100% condition with not as pleasing shape? So... It's going to be a very interesting mix of which way it will go. So, you know, because to me, it's like, I love Bonac, the way Bonac's shape is and, you know, his muscle and that, you know, he's almost the same size as height as Hardy. So, you know, but Hardy's conditioning could be a bit better than Bonac's, but yet I prefer Bonac's physique. So really it's going to come down to which way the judges see things on the day and stuff like that. So it's going to be an interesting show. You know, it's like I said, if Phil's in his best condition ever, he's going to be hard to beat no matter what. But then, seen some of those pictures of Brandon lately, he's looking a lot fuller in the chest and thicker in arms and shit like that. So if, you know, Brandon gets his conditioning 100%, like I said, I think it's going to be, you know, right now, yes, we can say if Phil comes in his best shape, he can win it. But even that's a big call. It's going to be, if everyone comes in their best condition, I think it's going to be a great show. And I don't think there's going to be a clear winner until the night show.
I agree. I think
somebody might have a better this, and somebody might have a better back, but then somebody might have the better glutes and ham. So I think it's going to be very nitpicky and a close show. If everyone's in their best shape, I think it's going to be a very close show.
In the history of the Olympia, I've never seen everyone in their best shape.
No.
Maybe 98. That was pretty close, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like I said, I think, you know, this year, if you're going in for it, would be the year to actually, you know, for Rami especially, coming in now, this is a good year to come in at his best and try and clean the title up. So
sure. Well, I interviewed Ruli Winkler today, and
well, like I said, Ruli's another one. Like I said, Ruli has all the mass in the world to take the title out and the size and shit. All he is his conditioning too. It's like I remember, like I said, you see back in the day when. How many pictures would you see of Dennis James back in the day? You'd swear he was going to win the Olympia 2 weeks out. Those pictures of him by the pool, his back and chest and his conditioning, and then the day of the show he gets like 9th or 10th. You're like, what the fuck happened? Right. So that's why it's good to see these photos before the show for the fans. It gets them excited. But I just wish whatever these guys do the last week before a show, you don't fucking do it. It's like, you're looking great 2 weeks out. Why this last week we're going to go, oh, hocus pocus, let's throw this into the mix and let's add this in and let's drop that out. It's like, that's why I did all my photo shoots 2 weeks before a contest, because I was always in great shape. And then the last week, I never cut my carbs. All I did was slowly taper the water down.
Right.
And if the show was on Saturday, maybe at a Wednesday, I'd take half a mod diuretic. I wouldn't go, some people go a whole diuretic one day, the next day another one, the next day 1.5. It's like, I'll take half of one. If I look good then, that's all I'll use, and maybe a quarter of a one the night before. But, people have to realize, once you throw those diuretics in, there's no coming back. Once it's in your system, you're fucked. Yeah. So just go on the side of caution, take a little bit, gradually add shit in. It's like when people carb load, they start throwing carbs in. Rather than throw in 100, 200 grams of carbs, if you're eating 6 meals, why not just add maybe 50 grams to each meal? So over the day, there's an extra 200-300. See how that affects you. But, they try and play all these silly games with drugs and foods and insulin and shit, and generally it fucks them up. It's like I said, if you're a little bit lighter, who cares? If you're shredded,
right,
on stage, you're going to look bigger. We've seen it all before. We've seen guys come on stage shredded, the smaller guy shredded, and he looks so much bigger because he's in shape. You know, so you come in bigger on stage and smoother, you're going to look bigger and fatter, but you just can't get it through the head. So these gurus that are ever giving these people their shit to do the last couple of days, stop fucking around with them. If they look good, fucking leave it alone. Fuck.
Another thing I talked about with Hunter Labrada, which was interesting, is that posing preparation, because a lot of guys just don't pose enough, and then they get up on stage. I mean, a perfect example, I guess, would be, you lived with him, Paul Dillette had every body part. He had the best conditioning on stage. He was the biggest guy. He had height. He had everything going for him, but he couldn't display his physique for anything. It was like the worst possible. It was like a person who never even posed before. He looked like, and he would lose.
Especially people always say that with his back, like he had a big back, but he never displayed his back in the rear.
Couldn't open it up.
Lat spread.
Yeah, he couldn't open it up. Imagine if this guy could have posed. He could have been Mr. Olympia.
Yep. Yeah, but that's the thing. I think too, a lot of people get put off sometimes because, when it got to a point when they just stopped judging the posing round and stuff. Even mandatories, you should always practice, because that's where you're judged on doing the compulsories. But, when it came to posing routines, after a while, you got to a point where you could look down and watch the judges when you're doing your posing routine. They'd be talking to each other. They wouldn't even be watching you. So you'd be like, oh, why should I put all this effort into my posing if you're not even going to pay attention to me?
Right. I don't know.
Then I think a lot of them too think they're not going to be out there that long. But I remember that time when I went to San Francisco, I think I was out there for like 5 or 6 call-outs. They didn't put me back in line. I think they kept Chris beside me for 4 of them. And after like the third one, Chris sort of bent down. He's like gasping for air. And I think Wayne at the time was like, Chris, you okay? Chris is like, yes. And trust me, I was dying inside, but I just stood there smiling. I could feel my muscles cramping, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to show you this is bothering me, but inside it was bothering me. But, sometimes if you get caught out there, people don't realize that posing is just as hard as training. It's like, you probably remember the days after contest when you've put so much into your posing. The next day you wake up after a show, you feel like you've had a full body workout. Everything's just aching.
You're in agony.
And the thing is too, no matter how hard, you probably notice this too, when you're at home and you're hitting a double bicep or you're hitting a lat spread, you can squeeze it as hard as you want. And it's hard, you feel okay, but for some reason, when you're on stage, whether it's the adrenaline, the nerves and everything else, you do it that much harder. That's when the fucking cramps come in. That's when all the other shit starts going on. Right. So, you should always practice it, because, like I said, if you get a few hard rounds and you've got to be out there for a while, it can make or break you. And then he said too, with this hocus pocus people do, how many times do you see guys come into the pre-judging great, they fade. Someone comes in shit, as they do more posing, they get better. So,
I always found that the people who, and I learned, for some reason, after I stopped competing, I became even more, I guess you could say, polished and felt comfortable posing. If it's too hard, you're probably not doing it right. Like, a lot of the bodybuilding poses are not very hard flexing poses. They're almost relaxing poses, like the lat spreads, opening your lats up, putting your body in the right position. If you're in shape, you don't have to over flex. And a lot of times that's not good, because it does make the muscles twitch and cramp and do all these other things.
Well, how many times would you see pick someone, Lee Labrada, for example, or Bob Paris. You could just watch them pose. It was like effortless. They just smile and hit a pose. Everything's popping. Then you get somebody else who's, and they're doing this sort of thing. And the thing is, too, I hate guys when they, relax pose. If you're standing like this, I can't stand when guys stand like this.
Yeah, I know why. I don't know why they think that looks good.
And whatever happened to as well, we always had to be, on your relaxed pose, your arms were by your side and heels were together. But now guys have got their legs spread out like they're fucking John Wayne from the Western movies, like they've been riding a fucking horse all day. It's like, put your heels together. But now they're trying to bow their fucking legs out to make their quads look bigger, and it looks fucking stupid. Stand symmetrical. You can put your heels together and your quads will still flare out and shit. But some of the stances they get into, I'm thinking, has he just shit his pants or what? It's like, give the guy a diaper.
If you're in shape, you don't have to overdo things, and I think that's important. And you know what? The same thing can be said for bikini. I mean, we talked about this before. The girls who stand with their butt like leaning over, like with their butt sticking out. If you're in shape and you have a good physique, you don't have to overdo it up there on stage. As a matter of fact, it's almost. It almost is embarrassing to see some of these girls that
some of them
overdoing it.
Because you see too much, I think. But it's like anything. You could see somebody who's got a bit of a flabby bum. You bend them over, Dave, and all of a sudden it becomes nice and perky and tight. So it's like...
I know, but there's a way to do it like where you can kind of cheat a little bit, but without it looking ridiculous.
Some actually looks like they're just doing a normal turnaround symmetrical pose. Some of them look like they're trying to show you where their kids come from. So some you just see way too much.
Those judges have a very good viewpoint over there. That's for sure.
It's like, Jesus, who released the Kraken? It's like, no, but I think the Olympia is going to be a very, very interesting show. And speaking of interesting shows, Dave, this Saturday or Sunday here, we have the Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. exhibition fight's going to be on.
I understand that. Now, where is that taking place?
I think it's in Vegas, isn't it?
How come they can't have the Olympia in Vegas, but they could have the Tyson fight there?
It might not be in Vegas. Could be Atlantic City. Could be Florida. But I thought it was going to be the MGM in Vegas.
I thought so. Yeah, maybe it's.
They reckon the pay-per-view. Tyson put up a thing saying the pay-per-view has broken all records. So.
I was going to say, can you imagine how much money? Tyson probably was doing okay money-wise. But they come to him and say, "Hey, Mike, you could make probably $100 million in this fight." How can he say no at this point? Who cares? It doesn't even matter if it's a joke. He's he's laughing all the way to the bank. This guy.
If they said, Lee, would you get in the ring for $10 million to fight Tyson? I'd be like, sure, not a problem. $10 million. I think at $10 million would be, if I get in the ring with Tyson for $10 million, I reckon if I got 10, $3 million will cover my medical bills. So I've still got $7 million left over. As long as I'm not fucking punch stupid, I should be okay.
Do you think that it's going to be a legitimate fight?
I think it will, because like I said, you got two guys who have pride. They have their reputations. I'm sure, even though it's an exhibition and the rules are a bit different, I'm sure if, say, they said, listen, first round, let's just come out and touchy-touch, just put on a bit of an exhibition. But could you imagine if they agreed to that, but then fucking Roy Jones goes, fuck this, whack. Tyson would be like, oh, fuck, it's on now. So
that's what I'm hoping. I mean, we want to at least see like a brawl,
I think, and like I said, I'm sure they don't want to hurt each other. I'm sure they don't want to, go out and go nuts either. But, I said, they've both been the greatest fighters in their eras almost and in their weight classes and whatever. So I said, when you got that pride and that reputation, you still want to come out both in their 50s and say, you know what, fuckers, look, we've still got it. You're not going to come out and just dance around and be like, oh, that's boring.
Right.
So like I said, and look, you watch Roy Jones now, the speed of his hands still and that, and look at Tyson. People go, oh, he doesn't hit as hard as he used to. I'm sure getting hit by Tyson now would still be fucking harder than most people fucking
absolutely.
hit. So.
I don't think anyone in their right mind would want to get hit by him, even at 50. I got news to you. Remember when George Foreman made that comeback and he won the world championship? He knocked out Michael Moore, who had to be like half his age, if you remember, to win that title.
Well, if you watch Tyson fight now, fight or spar, and the way he's sparring these guys and the way he's moving, I couldn't, really, who's the world champion now in boxing? Who's the heavyweight now? So I could easily see Tyson putting up a good fight now. Because like I said, Tyson's just, I don't think his age, okay, he might have slowed, well, it doesn't look like he's slowed down, but let's just say he's lost a bit of power. but you still can't take away and you can't teach that fucking mentality he has, that when he goes into that ring and that fucking fighter's brain turns on and it's just fucking it's just like a fucking seek and destroy missile. He sees you as the target, and when he comes at you, you're like, oh fuck.
You think Tyson's on like hormone replacement therapy? Or do you think he's
I'm not sure. I've seen him on a few of those Joe Rogan shows where he seems to be on. I know he was smoking a bit of marijuana and all that nice stuff to keep him calm, but now he said he's gone off that. He's a bit angry, so.
Yeah, they put him on testosterone therapy, but they had to give him like marijuana to keep him like relaxed, so.
No, it's going to be. I said it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun to watch. Like I said, they're both champions in their own right, and I said, they've still got their egos and shit to prove, so I don't think they want to come out there. It'll be like Rocky IV. This is meant to be an exhibition. Exhibition is one of them's laying there dead. If he dies, he dies. No, but imagine though he comes out and does something good, and the next thing I wouldn't be surprised. Mike Tyson fighting for the heavyweight title again next year. It wouldn't fucking surprise me.
I got news to you. If the money's there, Tyson will do it at this point. Hey, I mean, how many more fights do you think he's gotten him? I would do it if I were him. I mean, he doesn't.
Well, like I said, looking at his training now and the way he's still moving, I said even win or lose, I'm sure he'd be getting $50+ million.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. The problem is, with some of the really guys you want to see him fight. Like I'd love to see him fight like a what's his name from Vegas there, Junior, undefeated guy.
One?
What's his name?
Mayweather.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, but I mean Tyson weighs so much more than Mayweather. That'll never happen.
Bit of a weight difference.
Yeah, you can't do that, but that would be a great fight. Obviously, we'd love to see that.
Well, imagine Tyson and Joshua or Fury or whatever.
Yeah, Tyson Fury. Yeah. So
that'd be fun. Like I said, it'd be interesting this weekend to see. So people are going to scrutinise it no matter what. But even if as I said. You got to give him credit just from the weight he's lost and the condition he's in, and like I said, just watching him sparring and training, and even Roy Jones Jr. for their age, they're both 151, 154.
Yeah,
they've still got it. So all this armchair cunts that sit back knocking him, it's like, okay, then you get in the ring with him.
Yeah, exactly. People forget that these guys were world class, boxers. You don't lose everything. They still got the skills. And the instincts.
Even Mike Tyson, if he's 80 years old, sitting on a park bench and you gave him lip, I'm sure he'd get up and give it.
I certainly wouldn't want to piss him off. That's for sure. Yeah.
Tyson has that boxing skill, but also I think he has a bit of that street brawler skill as well. So either in the ring or out of the ring, you're going to come off second best. I think so. He
could flip the switch in his brain and become that street thug if he had to, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous. All right, well we got to wrap this up.
Everyone's just going to sit back and nitpick him. I said it'll be like the Olympia. It's going to be like any contest.
It's like Lee Priest comeback. They're gonna Lee Priest coming back to the Olympia. That guy sucks, man. He's not going to.
I'm waiting for the Masters Olympia. But you always notice, Dave, it's by the people who have done nothing. We have it here in Australia where, especially this day and age, where, if you're watching an NFL game or a rugby match here, you got cameras surrounding the fucking field. There's cameras here, cameras there, blah, blah, blah. They can watch it in slow back. People are sitting at home, they're like, why didn't he catch that ball? Didn't he see it coming? He's a fucking idiot. Like, the guy's a world-class fucking player, and you're sitting at home in your chair bad-mouthing him. It's like, he's on the field. He's got 20 other guys running around him. There's the adrenaline pumping, the noise of the crowd. You got people running fast. You're running fast, and you see the ball coming at your peripheral vision. You got to catch it. It's like, all of that happens in a split second. But yet these people sit at home going, well, why didn't you see it coming? Well, dickhead, you've got 20 fucking camera angles. You're sitting at home on your couch with your beer and your fucking marijuana. You got 50 camera angles, then they slow it down. It's like, I saw it coming. Why didn't you see it?
You're right.
Everyone's a fucking armchair expert, that's for sure.
Of course. We love to, that's the American way here.
Well, it's the same here in Australia. We put our people down. It's like we used to have Ricky Ponting, one of the world's best cricketers. Bad as he went through a period there where he wasn't doing that good. Everyone's like, oh, he's shit. He should retire. He's this, he's that. It's like, don't you people understand? He's human. You have good days and bad days. Yeah. Yes, he's a great batter, but guess what? He could be at 100% today, but the bowler is at 110%, and he fucking strikes him out. Or in baseball, you can have a great guy who's a great pitcher, and then sometimes he just has a bad day where the guy hitting the ball fucking cracks him right out of the park. And it was like, oh, he sucks. Blah,
Right,
blah, blah.
right,
Oh, yeah, they suck. That's why they are there and you're where you are.
Yeah, they're making millions and millions of dollars to play the game. All right, guys, if you want to pick up Lee Priest's book, it's called Believe in Yourself. It's on Amazon.com. Another great stocking stuffer for those of you trying to figure out little gifts to buy for your loved ones. If you want to read The Life of Lee Priest, it's called Believe in Yourself. And if you want Thor's Hammer, contact our good friend Jose Robles. Does he make these things for the public, or is it just for us special people?
I'm sure he would if you contacted him. It's what is it? Soulside_cosplay on Instagram.
All right, there you go. For now, we're going to wrap this thing up. I'm Dave Palumbo with Lee Priest for another installment of Iron Rage.